Hello, Camden Coblentz here. So I decided to do this video to discuss some important questions. Now, these aren't questions that I myself have been asked, but I would imagine that people could end up asking me these questions, so I decided to answer them anyway. So the first question is, why does my ministry include topics of R-rated movies? Now, that's a very important question because people can look at it very differently amongst each other. For me personally, the majority of movies I watch are not R-rated, and I find it important to take an in-depth approach with the subject. Concerning the big categories, violence generally doesn't bother me, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be watching any movie with that level of violence, and a lot of it also depends on how it's handled. As far as profanity goes, I'm not as bothered by it as some people might be, but if it gets too excessive and consistent, then that's a really big problem. And I definitely don't want to be a person who speaks with profane language. Now, sexual content and entertainment in general is something that I'm definitely much harder on. Generally, that stuff is where I would use the fast forward button, but if it gets too graphic, especially with sexualized nudity, then that's a really red flag for me and I know I should avoid it. Another important thing to take into consideration are the messages, themes, and views of morality, not just in R-rated movies, but in all movies. So for me, R-rated movies aren't necessarily off limits, but there's a strong emphasis on the word caution. That's why I find it so important to research about most movies before I watch them. And most of the time when I'm reading about a movie that happens to be rated R, I know I should avoid it. Yet there are others that have really spoken to me spiritually, though they are in the minority. So I strongly encourage you to develop a habit of researching movies before you watch them, as it will be really helpful for you. The next question I want to answer is, why do I have text at the beginning of the episodes? If a particular video says that it contains potentially disturbing discussions, the reason I have that there is I want to keep in mind if I have really sensitive viewers. Others may not have a problem with it, but if there are people who find certain themes discussed to be mature, dark, depressing, or again, disturbing, I just want to put that out there so they have an idea. And of course, because every episode will contain at least some spoilers, I gotta put that there, because I, like the next person, am annoyed when spoilers are mentioned without warning. The next question is, why do I prohibit profanity in the comments section? If you've seen all my videos so far, then you'll likely be really familiar with this. I'm dedicated to keeping the comment sections in my videos user-friendly, and using such words isn't necessary. Along with that, if there are disagreements, I really want viewers to be respectful about it, because there's a whole lot of disrespect on the internet, and we can do a lot better about it. Those are a few guidelines I've set in place, but honestly, it means a lot to me if you leave feedback. And then the final question I want to address is, do I take suggestions? What I generally mean by that is suggesting movies that I would do episodes on. For the most part, I would probably say no, because the movies I would talk about would have to be ones that I personally had a spiritual connection with, and I may not see a movie the same way as someone else. I wouldn't say it's impossible that a suggestion wouldn't leave me thinking of it as a possibility, but it is pretty unlikely. With that out of the way, I will say that I'm currently working on something different, and it should be posted sometime next month, but I definitely do want to get back into doing more episodes after that. So thank you for watching. I hope this made some things more clear about my channel, and until then, see you later.